Hello there, my name is Michael Harding, and I may run for president in 2016 if I can get enough support. Well, I don't really want to be president. If you, the American people, will spread this video around where it goes viral, then just maybe we can find a candidate who will step forward and fight for what the American citizens want from their government. Now, the very best way for the American people to take back control of their government is to eliminate the Electoral College and establish the popular vote. This would be very easy to do with computers nowadays. The Electoral College was established back in the 1800s when it was inconvenient for every American to drive to Washington to cast their vote. This would also stop the special interest groups and the lobbyists from influencing how our politicians vote and the country is run. There's been a lot of emails floating around on what the American citizens want from the government, and I'm going to be addressing some of these issues and a few of my own also. One thing that's very important people want is English only. This needs to be an English only country. Any illegal aliens that are in this country will be given 6 months to pass a citizenship test, which will be given in English only, or be deported from the country, and they will by no means be allowed to draw welfare unless they're American citizen. Now, welfare, we need to do some sort of drug screening on this. There are several states that are doing this now in order to draw their welfare benefits. What we need to also do is freeze welfare. For an example, if a woman has 6 kids and she wants to have more kids, the American people aren't going to pay for it. She's either going to have to get a job or something because we're tired of it. So it's going to stop right there. Another thing is one ethnic group. You know, every citizen that's an American should be considered an American citizen. I'm tired of Asian American, African American, Chinese American, Black American. If you're a citizen of this country, you're an American, period. Now, welfare is something that needs to be addressed. There's a few states that are requiring mandatory drug screening to continue welfare benefits. But also we need to freeze welfare. For an example, if a woman has 6 kids and she wants to have more, the American people aren't going to pay for it. She's either going to have to get a job or find some other means to support those children. We also need to strengthen our borders, especially the ones between the United States and Mexico, and which we could use our military for that. We need to bring some of our military home. While it is necessary that we have bases around the world, we don't need to be fighting wars where we're not welcome, and it's costing the taxpayers money, and it's also costing American lives. We also need to be one nation under God. That's what our country was established. You know, we need to bring back prayer, pledge allegiance, and the 10 Commandments on buildings. These special interest groups should have no right or influence on how we believe in God in this country. If they don't like it, they can leave it. Plain and simple. Second Amendment gun control needs to be enforced. I'm a member of the NRA, and I strongly believe that the Second Amendment needs to be kept intact as it is. Boy, we really need to eliminate our debt or get it down, establish a budget. Our debt to China is just getting way out of hand. There's a lot of ways we could do this. One would be to eliminate foreign aid. Except in extreme cases where there's a natural disaster and they need our help. Another way would be with oil. We depend too much on foreign oil, and there's no need for that. With the oil we have in Alaska, the Gulf, Canada, now in Dakotas and Montana, there is no reason for us to rely on foreign oil. Let's use what we got in America. Another thing that helps as far as the IRS goes, there's a lot of these businesses that are run like taxis and C-stores and hotels that are unfortunately run by Muslims. Now, I'm not prejudiced against them, but my mother worked for a hotel which was run by Muslims, and she was told that she was only to record the stuff that was on credit card. No cash payments would be written down. So by cracking down on these businesses, that might put some more money into our treasury. Another thing we need to do is freeze the monies that go into Social Security and the Railroad Retirement Fund. The government has borrowed against them and consequently broke them and made them very weak. So in future, all money that goes into those funds is going to be frozen and can't be borrowed against by our government. Now, veterans. I'm an Air Force veteran. I served during the Vietnam era, even though I wasn't in Vietnam. But what I'm glad to see is the patriotism that this country now has for its American veterans. It's nice to see that. So consequently, I think that burning of the American flag should be considered a felony. I'm now going to talk about a couple controversial subjects. I'm going to take these one at a time. First of all, abortion. This is a very, very touchy subject. While I am pro-life, I do think that it's a woman's body and she should have some say-so. I would suggest that up to 8 weeks, it would be legal to have abortion. Beyond that, it would be illegal. There are plenty of American families out there looking to adopt, and they could pick up all the medical expenses and care, and I think that this just might work. Okay, this one's a pet peeve: technical support and customer service. I am tired of every time I get on the phone and need help, it goes to a foreign country. Now, this is taking jobs away from American people, and I'm not just talking about few, I'm talking about hundreds. And I'm not just talking about the small companies, I'm talking about the major 500, Fortune 500 companies farm their customer service out to countries like India, which is a known terrorist nation. They're also trying to develop nuclear bombs, and this goes against every grain. So I think that there should be very stiff penalties for any American company that farms their customer service out to a foreign country. And I think that any foreign companies that want to operate in this country must supply their customer service and technical support to the American people. This would really help the economy. And this is a strong belief of mine. Marijuana. Boy, this is really touchy. I've tried it. I don't like it. I'm not a user of it, but I think we ought to make it legal. It would help stop some of the drug traffic. It would also strengthen the economy. I think we ought to treat it like we do liquor. Let it be controlled by the federal government and tax it. That would help the revenues of this country. And set limits. Now, we have alcohol limits as far as driving in the workplace, what they can be. We ought to do the same with marijuana. So if we do make it legal, there's got to be certain levels that's excessive. And they should come under the same penalties as driving while intoxicated or showing up at the workplace intoxicated. In other words, you'd be fined heavily or fired. And by regulating it by the amount of levels, which also gets back to the welfare subject, yeah, if they're within the certain levels, it would be okay. But the federal government really needs to step in and take control of this. Like I said, it would strengthen our economy tremendously. It would eliminate a lot of the drug traffic coming across the border with Mexico and out of South America. And by having the government control it, just like cigarettes or, like I say, liquor, I think it would be a good idea, and I think this country would be heading in the right direction to legalize it. But there's limits. So I'd sure like your opinion on this. Now, I'm sure most of you are wondering, who is this guy? Well, I'm just your average American. I come from Montana. I've never held a political office, and I'm not a politician. I served 4 years in the United States Air Force. I have a few years of college, but no degree. I worked for the railroad for 20 years. I worked for the state of Montana, the state of Idaho, also U.S. Postal Service as a private contractor and as an employee. And I also started several small businesses. I have been married twice, the first time for 11 years with 2 sons, and I've been married for 33 years with my second wife, and we have a son and a daughter. I've never been arrested. I've never been put in jail, but my life is not squeaky clean. I do pay attention to what most Americans seem to want. I don't expect to be elected because I'd be stepping on the feet of politicians, lawyers, welfare recipients, Muslims, and illegal aliens. However, if I get enough support, I'd consider running or find someone better suited. Thank you for your time. I'm Michael Harding, and I will be back with another video shortly. Another thing the American people seem to want is one language only, and that being English, and I couldn't agree more. As far as the legal immigrants go, all legal immigrants will be given 6 months to pass a citizenship test that will be given in English only, or they'll be deported back to their country of origin. Now, welfare, of course, only American citizens will be allowed to draw welfare. We will also require mandatory drug testing, as some states have already done. Another thing is we need to put a freeze on welfare. For example, if a woman has 6 kids and she wants the 7th, well, guess what? We're not paying for it. Her welfare benefits will be frozen, and any children beyond the 6 she's going to have to pay for herself. And one ethnic group, I'm tired of African American, Asian American, Chinese American, etc. If you're an American citizen, you're American, regardless of what nationality you are. And I'm very strong on that. Just one ethnic group in this country.